Imagine a world where every misstep could be your last, a time when a colossal predator hunted with lethal precision. 68 million years ago, in the warm plains of what is now North America, a true titan ruled the Tyrannosaurus rex. Weighing over 10 tons and boasting a bite force powerful enough to crush bones like twigs, this giant was not just a hunter, it was a living nightmare of its time. But was it truly the undisputed king of its era, or could another predator have challenged its throne? One of the most terrifying traits of this titan was its sharp vision. Studies suggest its visual acuity was up to 13 times better than that of humans. This meant that once it spotted you, escape was almost impossible. Just imagining yourself in such a scenario is enough to make your heart race, waking up suddenly in the late Cretaceous, surrounded by an alien biodiversity, and worse, knowing that the largest land predator ever recorded might be nearby. Surviving in such conditions would be an overwhelming challenge. Where could you run when the king of predators was on your trail? Running seemed like the only option, but your chances were grim. Rivers and lakes offered a false sense of safety, concealing dangers even deadlier than those on land. Heading south wouldn't help much either. There, other monsters awaited, like abelisaurids with their ferocious jaws and comparable lethality. Perhaps your last hope would be to flee north, seeking refuge in colder climates, relying on the possibility that these massive predators favored warmer territories. But would that be enough to survive? Even the north was far from safe. If you managed to get far enough, you might find yourself face to face with another formidable predator. This wasn't just any dinosaur, but a member of the same family as T.rex, perfectly adapted to dominate Arctic regions. Though lesser known, this northern tyrannosaur was a true sovereign of the polar landscapes. In the late Cretaceous, no corner of the world was free from formidable predators. Its name was Nanuksaurus, and its story, though less famous, was just as extraordinary. The discovery of this polar tyrannosaur is in itself nothing short of a miracle. It was unearthed in one of the most remote and challenging locations on the planet, the Prince Creek Formation in northern Alaska. This region, located hundreds of miles from any city, is a harsh, difficult-to-reach area, making every paleontological expedition there a feat of logistics and endurance. Yet, in 2006, a team of paleontologists accomplished the unexpected. Among the frozen layers and ancient sediments, they uncovered fragments of a theropod skull, including a right maxilla, the top of the skull, and a left socket. The most astonishing aspect of this discovery wasn't just the find itself, but what these remains implied. The shape and structure of these partial pieces clearly matched a type of dinosaur that researchers knew well but never expected to find so far north, a tyrannosaur. Initially, the discovery didn't seem to point to a new species. Due to the skull's similarities with other previously described tyrannosaurs, it was thought to belong to an Albertosaurus, Daspletosaurus, or Gorgosaurus. While it didn't appear to be groundbreaking in terms of a new genus, the scientific implications were monumental. These remains represented the northernmost tyrannosaur ever discovered, suggesting that this family of predators was far more tolerant of cold climates than previously believed. The idea that a tyrannosaur could survive and thrive in the Arctic's extreme conditions dramatically expanded our understanding of their adaptability and the extent of their range. This find demonstrated that tyrannosaurs were far more versatile than scientists had imagined, capable of inhabiting regions once thought beyond their reach. Are you enjoying what you're watching? If so, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me keep creating content like this for you. It costs you nothing, and it motivates me a lot to keep making more videos. So if you want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss anything. Years later, as the holotype was being prepared for analysis, scientists realized that this creature was far more distinct than they initially thought. The differences were so significant that paleontologists concluded they were not only dealing with a new species, but an entirely new genus. Due to its place of origin, this dinosaur was named Nanuksaurus, meaning polar bear lizard, a perfectly fitting name for this Arctic predator. The discovery of an Arctic tyrannosaur was already astonishing, but the unveiling of this creature drew even more attention by raising intriguing questions about its relationship with other tyrannosaurs, particularly the iconic Tyrannosaurus rex. Studies based on its morphology revealed that Nanuksaurus was closely related to T.rex, possibly being the second closest North American theropod relative after Daspletosaurus. As a result, it was classified within the subfamily Tyrannosauridae, a group known for its robust builds and large, massive skulls. However, this classification not only confirmed its ties to the other tyrant theropods, but also introduced a new mystery. Where exactly did this creature come from? This question has puzzled paleontologists as no definitive answers have been found. The harsh conditions of the Arctic and the existence of such a well-adapted predator raise new questions about how tyrannosaurs could diversify and thrive in such extreme habitats. What is clear is that Nanuksaurus represents a fascinating and unique branch in the evolutionary history of these formidable dinosaurs. Two main theories attempt to explain the origins of Nanuksaurus. The first suggests that this dinosaur might have descended from a tyrannosaur that originally lived in North America, but for some reason undertook a long migration back to the north, eventually reaching the Arctic regions. The second theory proposes that Nanuksaurus may have evolved from an Asian tyrannosaur that crossed the Bering Strait. However, this Asian ancestor never migrated southward, instead remaining in colder regions. Nanuksaurus shared several anatomical features with its famous southern cousin, Tyrannosaurus rex. Both had an S-shaped curved neck, reduced arms that were remarkably small compared to their body size, a robust and broad skull, and a generally stockier build. These traits gave Nanuksaurus a more powerful and compact appearance, contrasting with the sleeker, more aerodynamic bodies of other tyrannosaurs like Albertosaurus. However, Nanuksaurus had its own unique characteristics that set it apart from T.rex. In terms of size, it was significantly smaller than its southern cousin, an adaptation likely driven by the harsh Arctic environment. Additionally, it had narrower teeth that were deeply embedded in its jaw, suggesting it may have had a slightly different diet. Prominent bony crests above its eyes gave it a more intimidating look, further distinguishing it from other tyrannosaurs. But the differences didn't end there. Nanuksaurus possessed a set of unique traits not found in any other known tyrannosaur. Among these were frontal bones with a long, pointed process that separated the prefrontal bone from the lacrimal bone, a feature not observed in other members of its family. It also had a thin midline ridge on its parietal bones, another anatomical trait that appears to be exclusive to this species. Additionally, its first two teeth were considerably smaller than the ones that followed, hinting at an unusual dental configuration that might have helped it process a broader range of prey types. There is an intriguing theory suggesting that this theropod might have been quite different from other tyrannosaurs in one key aspect. It could have been fully feathered. This adaptation would have been crucial for surviving the long, dark Arctic winters, characterized by extreme temperatures and a freezing environment. Feathers would have provided essential thermal insulation, helping it retain body heat in such harsh conditions. However, no direct evidence of feathers has been found in Nanuksaurus fossils so far. The strongest support for the possibility of a feathered Nanuksaurus comes, interestingly, from Asia. A key discovery in this region was Uteranus, another close relative of tyrannosaurs that lived in a similarly cold environment and displayed a dense, extensive plumage. Uteranus is one of the largest theropods known to have clear evidence of feathers, suggesting that this evolutionary line of carnivorous dinosaurs might have retained feathers even into adulthood, not just during their juvenile stages. Despite its name, Nanuksaurus, polar bear lizard, was much larger than a polar bear, though it didn't reach the massive proportions of Tyrannosaurus rex. Initially, based on the holotype discovered, paleontologists believed Nanuksaurus to be a medium to large theropod, measuring about 6 meters, 20 feet, in length and weighing nearly a ton. This made it one of the largest terrestrial predators to roam the Arctic regions, though far from being one of the largest known tyrannosaurs. In terms of size, it was thought to be more comparable to the largest specimens of Gorgosaurus rather than approaching the imposing stature of T.rex. However, in an unexpected twist for the field of paleontology, more recent studies have shed light on the true size of this Arctic tyrant. It turns out that Nanuksaurus may have been much larger than initially thought. Detailed analyses have revealed that its dimensions were more comparable to those of Albertosaurus, another member of the Tyrannosaur family. If these new calculations are accurate, this polar giant could have weighed around 3 tons and reached up to 9 meters, 30 feet, in length, making it by far the largest carnivore known to have inhabited the Arctic and the largest terrestrial predator ever recorded in a polar environment. This dramatic shift in size estimates highlights how paleontology is a constantly evolving science, with new discoveries and research continually reshaping our understanding of these ancient predators. Thanks to its impressive size, Nanuksaurus would have been capable of hunting nearly any other dinosaur that shared its environment. This made it a truly fearsome predator, and its hunting prowess was further enhanced by a distinctive tyrannosaur trait, a devastating bite. Like its famous relatives, Nanuksaurus was equipped with a proportionally massive and remarkably robust head. In life, this skull structure was covered with a thick network of powerful muscles, giving it an exceptional bite force. However, this dinosaur had a unique feature that set it apart within its family. Its skull was not only long, but also noticeably wide. This characteristic provided an advantage in bite strength compared to other tyrannosaurs with narrower, more elongated skulls. Over the years, one of the most striking aspects of Nanuksaurus's anatomy that has been reevaluated is the size of its head. Estimates suggest its skull had the greatest relative increase in mass among its body parts. This implies that its bite force may have been truly impressive, even by tyrannosaur standards, which were already renowned for their powerful jaws. Unfortunately, due to the scarcity of complete fossil remains, a precise study of Nanuksaurus's bite force has not been possible. Paleontologists have had to rely on comparisons with similarly sized tyrannosaurs, such as Gorgosaurus and Albertosaurus, to make approximate estimates. However, these comparisons are challenging because bite force estimates for these dinosaurs can vary significantly. Some studies suggest that Gorgosaurus's bite force ranged from about 10,000 newtons to a staggering 40,000 newtons. For perspective, the upper limit of this estimate is about 2.5 times more powerful than the bite of a modern crocodile. While we don't have an exact figure for Nanuksaurus, it's clear that any estimate would place it among the most formidable biters of its time. The wide and robust design of its skull, combined with its powerful musculature, suggests it could exert immense pressure with each bite, likely capable of crushing bones and tearing through flesh with ease. Nanuksaurus likely employed a brutal and lethal hunting technique to bring down its prey. Its initial attack strategy was probably centered around delivering a bite so powerful that it crushed massive amounts of tissue and bone in a single snap, causing devastating trauma upon impact. This tremendous initial pressure would not only destroy but also leave its victims critically injured in mere moments. But the assault didn't end there. Once Nanuksaurus sank its powerful jaws into its prey, it likely followed up with violent tearing. It would rip large chunks of flesh and tissue while shaking and pulling its victim. This method created catastrophic wounds, ensuring that few animals could survive an encounter with this predator. The lethality of its bite was further amplified by the structure of its teeth. While slightly smaller than those of Tyrannosaurus rex, the teeth of Nanuksaurus were still enormous by general standards. Its largest teeth could exceed 10 centimeters, 4 inches, in height. These teeth were curved, designed to firmly latch onto prey, and featured fine serrations, allowing each bite to slice through multiple layers of flesh with minimal resistance. With such a well-equipped jaw, Nanuksaurus was capable of killing, or at the very least fatally wounding, the largest animals in its environment with a single, well-placed bite. Regarding its diet, based on the fossilized remains of other animals that shared its habitat, it is believed that Nanuksaurus preyed on a variety of dinosaurs, including hadrosaurids and ceratopsids. However, one of its preferred meals seems to have been Pachyrhinosaurus, a robust herbivore known for its prominent nose and thick bony shield on its head. It's common in documentaries and other media portrayals to show Nanuksaurus hunting Pachyrhinosaurus in groups, leading to the popular belief that this tyrannosaur was a highly social creature that hunted in packs. However, to date, there is no direct evidence confirming that Nanuksaurus lived or hunted in groups. The idea of this dinosaur being a social hunter may have originated from earlier estimates that underestimated its size, making it appear smaller and thus more dependent on group hunting to take down large prey. Despite the lack of definitive proof, some paleontologists do not rule out the possibility that these dinosaurs preferred the company of others of their kind, especially due to the harsh conditions of their polar environment. Living in groups could have facilitated hunting, allowing them to take down large prey more easily. It would also have provided the added benefit of huddling together to conserve heat during the Arctic winters, a crucial factor for survival in such a hostile environment. Additionally, this group living could have been key in helping juveniles survive in such a relentless world. Unfortunately, despite these potential strategies, it seems that many young Nanuksaurus, including newborns, did not survive to adulthood. This grim reality is reflected in the scarcity of juvenile fossils compared to adults, suggesting that juvenile mortality rates were high, possibly due to the extreme environmental challenges and fierce competition for resources. According to paleontologists, this suffering seems to have been somewhat voluntary. Rather than migrating south in search of warmer climates during the winter, these dinosaurs chose to remain in the inhospitable Arctic. Fossil evidence of so many young specimens indicates that rather than escaping the harsh winter conditions, they preferred to stay in their northern territory. This suggests they endured Arctic winters similar to those found today in places like Anchorage, Alaska, with average winter temperatures dropping to around -3 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Fahrenheit, comparable to conditions in modern freezers. The harsh winter conditions of the Arctic have also led scientists to propose that Nanuksaurus may have developed extraordinarily sharp senses to hunt in such a hostile environment. In particular, it is believed that it had much more refined vision and smell compared to its southern relatives. During the long months of winter darkness and amidst the worst storms, these senses would have been crucial for tracking prey. The sense of smell of Nanuksaurus has sparked special interest among paleontologists. Although only fragments of its skull have been found, they suggest that its nasal region was incredibly developed. In fact, some researchers believe that it may have surpassed even the legendary sense of smell of Tyrannosaurus rex. This is an astonishing idea, considering that the T.rex has been compared to bloodhounds in terms of its olfactory abilities. If these assumptions are correct, Nanuksaurus would have been able to detect the trail of its prey from miles away, even if the extreme cold diminished the intensity of sense and despite the wind blowing in the opposite direction. This incredible sense of smell would have allowed Nanuksaurus to track its prey under the most adverse conditions, ensuring its position as one of the most formidable predators of its time, even in the inhospitable polar climate. Thus, armed with a powerful natural radar, this Arctic dinosaur would have been able to locate crucial food sources for its survival during the long and dark winters, when resources were scarce and competition fierce. A potential adaptation to the cold in Nanuksaurus might have been the structure of its legs and feet. In the Arctic lands, where heavy snowfalls were common, it is reasonable to imagine that this theropod developed features that allowed it to traverse deep snow effortlessly and even remain standing on ice without breaking through. Although no leg or foot remains have been found to confirm this hypothesis, some scientists suggest that Nanuksaurus may have had specialized feet to conserve heat, uniquely shaped toes, and powerful limbs to help it survive in its frigid environment. Despite the harsh winters, not everything in Nanuksaurus's life was adversity. Summers, although brief and bittersweet, brought periods of constant daylight that had a significant impact on the life of this dinosaur. Its hunting activity seemed to concentrate at the start of summer, and its diet was influenced by the migratory patterns of other animals that, unlike this dinosaur, chose to leave the region during the winter months. One fascinating aspect of Nanuksaurus is that, unlike other dinosaurs, it did not limit itself to just one type of habitat within the Arctic. For example, Edmontosaurus tended to inhabit coastal lowlands, while Pachyrhinosaurus preferred higher regions. Nanuksaurus, on the other hand, appeared in all types of environments and thrived in each of them. This not only demonstrates its versatility, but also its ability to dominate a wide variety of biomes. Its evolutionary success in such harsh conditions is a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of this family of theropods, which seem capable of conquering virtually any ecosystem. This extensive range not only allowed it to adapt to multiple environments, but also gave it access to a diversity of animals with which it coexisted. Among the dinosaurs that shared its home were Dromaeosaurus, Gryposaurus, Pachyrhinosaurus, Edmontosaurus, and a small ceratopsian like Leptoceratops, among others. However, what was most surprising was not just the number of dinosaurs that managed to survive in these tundras, but also the variety of non-dinosaur animals that inhabited them. These Arctic lands hosted species like Similestes, small marsupials like Gypsonyctops, insects, and over 60 types of trees. In terms of size, Nanuksaurus stood out as one of the largest animals in its ecosystem, rivaling only herbivores like Pachyrhinosaurus and Edmontosaurus. However, among predators, it had no competition. It was, by far, the largest hunter. Its closest rival was about 140 times smaller, even when considering smaller predators like dromaeosaurs. On average, most other carnivores in the Arctic exhibited dwarfism, reaching barely half the size of their relatives in warmer regions. And this trend of dwarfism, which goes against the general rule that animals tend to be larger in colder climates, could be explained by the scarcity of food in the region. With high competition among smaller predators, evolutionary pressure pushed them to reduce their size. Nanuksaurus, however, remained an exception. Its large size allowed it to hunt large prey, specialize in this type of diet, and avoid direct competition with smaller predators. Thanks to its strength and imposing size, Nanuksaurus became the supreme predator of its ecosystem, reigning unchallenged in its frigid home. The existence of Nanuksaurus, a titan adapted to conquer the extremes of the Arctic, was notably brief in evolutionary terms. It lived between 70 and 68 million years ago, and its story ended before the catastrophic event that marked the end of the Cretaceous, the impact of the asteroid at Chicxulub. This early disappearance, though tragic, may have spared it from the fate that befell so many other dinosaurs. However, its extinction remains a mystery, shrouded in the shadows of an ecosystem as brutal as it was fascinating. The Arctic of the Cretaceous, although warmer than today, presented unique challenges. The winters were long and dark, and life depended on a fragile balance. With months of twilight and snow covering the landscape, every living being had to adapt not only to the cold, but also to the scarcity of resources. In this hostile environment, Nanuksaurus stood out as an exceptional predator, but even the best adapted creatures have their limits. One can imagine how the seasons dictated its fate. During the brief summers, large prey like Pachyrhinosaurus and Edmontosaurus likely flourished, providing abundant food. But when winter returned, the world of Nanuksaurus transformed into an unforgiving tundra. If the populations of these prey species dwindled due to climate shifts or migrations, Nanuksaurus might have faced a desperate struggle for survival. Despite its size and strength, the isolation of the Arctic may have been its downfall. While other tyrannosaurs in more temperate regions thrived in rich and diverse ecosystems, Nanuksaurus relied on a delicate ecological balance. If one variable, like prey abundance, was altered too drastically, the impact on its population could have been devastating. Perhaps there was something more, something still unknown to paleontology, that sealed its fate. A sudden event like a volcanic eruption, an abrupt climate change, or even the emergence of diseases could have swept across the Arctic lands, leaving Nanuksaurus with no time to adapt. Whatever the cause, its extinction serves as a reminder of how fragile existence can be, even for such a formidable creature. Today, with the few fossil remains that have been found, Nanuksaurus remains an enigma, an echo of a time when dinosaurs roamed the tundra. Perhaps in the future we will learn more about this unique polar predator, but for now, its story remains incomplete, another piece of the complex mosaic of life in the Cretaceous.